Good evening and welcome to the OP podcast, where I highlight ordinary people overcoming extraordinary things. Now, I'm your host, Fono Vakalahi, and I'm super excited to be launching the hottest new podcast out there today. Now, in all due respects for this first intro podcast video, I'm going to take some time to really explain the title of the podcast, and B, the purpose of the podcast. Now, the OP podcast, O standing for ordinary, P standing for people, therefore making the Ordinary People podcast, where we highlight ordinary people overcoming extraordinary things. Now, the purpose of this podcast is to teach you and share experiences to help you change your mindset to view life's failures as beautiful learning experiences. In order for me to do that, I'm going to share not only personal experiences that I've dealt with in my life and that I've experienced throughout my lifetime, as well as hearing live interviews from people who have overcome some of life's biggest challenges. Okay, so we're going to have an opportunity to not only hear about these stories that a lot of you are going to be able to relate to, but also dive deep into the feelings, the thoughts, the experiences while going through these through these challenges in life, and what they did to pull themselves out of the hole, per se. Now, my hope for you listening in and joining in on this podcast is to help you shift your mindset. Again, is to help you shift your mindset to view obstacles and setbacks as learning opportunities to elevate you in order for you to become who you need to be today, right? Now, to start this off, I'm going to give a little intro and just tell you a little bit about who I am and where I come from and how I've gotten to where I am today. Okay. Like I said, my name is Fono Vakalahi. Both of my parents come from the island of Tonga. And to start the podcast, I'm going to teach you how we greet each other formally in Tongan. Okay. Now, you've all heard the Hawaiian saying, aloha. Now, that's how Hawaiians normally introduce themselves and normally start any speaking engagement is they say, aloha. And then the whole crowd repeats back to them. You hear just 50,000 voices or so. Imagine that, repeating back, aloha. Now, like I said, I'm going to teach you how to say the Tongan greeting. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what Tongan is, it's part of the Pacific Islands. It's part of one of the islands that make up Polynesia, right? You got Tonga, you got Samoa, you got Fiji, Tahiti, French Polynesia, all of that stuff. It's all bunched together to make the Polynesian, the islands, right? Now, greetings in my native tongue, Tongan. It's a little bit of a tongue twister, so we're going to take this one slow, okay? We're going to start it out. Now, it's malo elele, all right? So every time I say this, I want you to think, I'm going to be hearing you guys. I know you guys are going to be repeating it back to me. I'm going to say malo elele. Try that once or twice, maybe 10 times or so. But eventually, you're going to get it. As long as you continue to join in on this podcast, you are going to be fluent in the introduction of the Polynesian and Tongan languages. So again, welcome. Like I said, both of my parents migrated to the United States from the island of Tonga. Okay. Now they both migrated to San Francisco in their mid-20s, right? Ended up meeting in San Francisco, got married and migrated over to the state of Texas. Now, if you're from Texas, I'm going to pronounce this correctly. They migrated over to the great state of Texas. Put some respect on my name, right? Anyways, they ended up making their home in Texas. My dad ended up working in the airport. Both of my parents at some point ended up working at the airport. I am the second youngest of 7 siblings. I've got 4 older brothers, as well as an older sister, and I have 1 younger sister. And she came 6 years after I was born. And so came and stole my thunder as far as being the spoiled youngest child. And but super, super grateful. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Super happy that our family was the way it is. Now, you may be wondering, like, what's my purpose? Well, like, what's my purpose, and how did I end up becoming how did I end up creating this podcast, right? Now, like I said, I've had a passion. I have a passion for reaching out and helping others. I have a passion for sharing my life's experiences to helping others overcome their life challenges. Right now, I've experienced my fair share of challenges in life, just as I know you have. I'm going to eventually share some of my stories, many of my stories that has helped make me who I am, and who has helped me become who I am today. But anyways, ended up graduating high school, and as you can see in the picture, I received a full ride scholarship to play over at BYU, Brigham Young University. Played my freshman year there, ended up leaving to serve a church mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, serving in Washington, D.C., where I was, spreading the word, teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, and helping others come unto Christ. Okay. Some of the best times of my life, right? Definitely one of the highlights of my life so far. Fast forward to today, I'm married to a beautiful wife, and I have 3 beautiful children. My oldest is 9 years old, turning 10 in January. Boy, my second oldest is another boy who's just turned 7 years old on Wednesday, and then I have a 19-month-old daughter. So super, super blessed, super, super grateful for the life that I have right now. And again, my hope is to be able to share with you, joining in on this podcast, some of my life's experiences, some of the crazy things that has happened in my life, from being shot at and almost dying right before going to BYU, to hitting rock bottom, to losing my full ride scholarship, to losing my father at a teenage year, to experiencing my mother with who had a massive stroke, paralyzing her right side, to moving and living with other family members. I mean, the list goes on and on. So there's definitely plenty of content for me to share with you. And also just fast forwarding today to today, and really thinking back and reflecting back on those experiences, and really taking a look at what really happened, right? As a child, it's hard for us to, as children, it's hard for us to really understand what's really going on in our lives. Like we're just experiencing life. We're being taken care of. There's 3 stages, right, that we experience in life. One is that dependent stage where, we need the care of an adult. We need the lessons of an adult. We need someone to help us through life. And then it becomes, it transitions into phase number 2, where it's the independent phase, right? Where we are starting to spread our wings and fly, and help our parents become empty nesters, per se. And then the challenge, and where we are very, very successful and are able to overcome and experience the beauty of life, is when we hit that 3rd phase, where we're interdependent, right? When we learn how to work with others, when we learn how to experience and go through life with other people, right? So again, I'm super excited to launch this new podcast, the OP podcast, hosted by your boy, Fono Vakalahi. Super excited for you guys to join in, and I cannot wait for you guys to experience our first few interviews. Just to kind of give you a little sneak peek of what's to come. There is a gentleman that I've had the pleasure of interviewing, who ended up losing his right leg, right? Losing his right leg midway through life. And, just being able to hear like that experience, being able to hear from his mouth what it was like, you know, to be born with two legs and then have an experience where you had to lose a leg, and learning how to cope with that, learning how to adjust your lifestyle to that, living with an artificial leg. Super, super, super awesome guy, super humble guy. And he's just living life to the fullest right now. So super excited for that. Also, just a few other interviews. And if you are interested in joining in on this podcast, if you feel like you have a story to tell, if you feel like you have this burning desire to share a message with the people of this world. Again, this podcast is going to touch the lives of everyone in this globe, right? The entire earth is where it's going. So if you have that experience, if you feel just that burning desire, reach out to me. I'm going to be sharing my link below of how you can get in contact with me, and super, super blessed and super excited to get this thing going. Welcome to the OP Podcast. I am your host, Fono Vakalahi, and it's about to go down.